At the edge of the world, where the cold grasslands of Montana seem to stretch endlessly, winter does not come quietly. It roars. The wind whistles through the silvery gray pine trunks, carrying snow like a ghostly dust storm. This is a harsh land, where life clings to pure instinct, and death lurks behind every fallen branch. Yet in this place where life seems destined to bow, something strange happened, a story beyond all ordinary understanding of instinct, species, and the bond between living creatures. Michael Thompson, an experienced biologist, hurriedly led his 12-year-old daughter Luna through the snow-covered forest, trying to get home before the snowstorm arrived. Their 3 shepherd dogs, Bruno, Hazel, and the smallest, Scout, ran ahead like 3 warriors leading the way through the icy desert. Suddenly Bruno stopped. Ears perked, nose sniffing the air. Without command, all 3 rushed toward a fallen tree, snow stained with blood. Beneath the trembling dry branches lay a small creature gasping for breath. It was a lion cub, its body wet, dark golden fur stained with blood and dirt. No bigger than a puppy, the exhausted animal slowly opened its eyes, revealing dull yellow fearful eyes. Michael knew this was unusual. Lions don't live in this region. Perhaps it had escaped from a private farm or was smuggled across the border. Beneath the snow, traces of an iron trap could be seen. Someone had abandoned its mother or worse. Bruno gently licked the lion cub's head, a behavior completely contrary to instinct. No growling, no territorial fighting, just pure protective instinct, as if he knew this little creature was on the brink of death. Rebecca, Michael's wife and a veterinarian, initially opposed the idea of bringing a wild animal home. But reason gave way to compassion. Under her expert care, she diagnosed severe malnutrition, hypothermia, and signs of blood loss. A wooden box lined with blankets was placed in the kitchen. No one expected a miracle. But the next morning, they saw the unbelievable. Leo, the name Luna gave the cub, was still alive. More than that, the 3 dogs lay curled around him, their bodies radiating warmth like 3 flames guarding a fragile spark. During the weeks trapped by the snowstorm, the family cared for Leo as one of their own. And Leo, contrary to all Michael's teachings, began to learn. Leo did not meow like a cat. He growled softly but also made strange hissing sounds. He started to stand and walk, not gracefully like a wildcat but sturdily like a puppy. He learned to play, chase Scout, share toys with Hazel, and watch Bruno as he patrolled the fence. Luna spent hours playing with Leo. She taught him to sit, call his name, and he responded, a behavior almost never seen in lions. Rebecca secretly recorded Leo's strange behaviors. Michael filmed, both curious and touched. For months passed. Winter was slowly melting. Leo had grown bigger, his muscles defined, a mane beginning to appear. But his behavior had not changed. He did not stalk prey like a lion. He walked with the pack, 3 dogs and 1 lion, a bizarre but tightly bonded family. When Michael posted some videos online, the internet exploded. "A lion thinks it's a shepherd dog!" The headlines spread everywhere. Then the inevitable happened. Ranger Martinez, the regional wildlife officer, came to inspect after dozens of reports. Though impressed with Leo's obedience and behavior, he could not ignore the law. Lions are wild animals. The law does not allow keeping them without permits. Michael applied to keep Leo as a research animal, citing scientific reasons. While waiting, Leo lived as before, patrolling every morning, playing every afternoon, sleeping in the dog kennel every night. The early spring sky was gray, clouds heavy like sorrow hanging over the pines. In that space, a decision from the wildlife office struck like thunder. Leo could not stay. No permits, no exceptions. And though Michael's heart ached, he understood. The law was not made to bend to human feelings, but to protect the delicate balance between wild animals and humans. Rebecca spoke little. She quietly prepared medicine bags, protein-rich dry food, and survival supplies. "He will need time. And a little magic," she whispered. Luna, who used to laugh every afternoon while Leo rolled in the grass, was now silent like a moonless night. She packed the thin blanket Leo used to lie on as a cub, a familiar scent, a small hope. The 3 dogs could not understand human words, but they sensed the worry in their eyes. Bruno, the pack leader, sat for hours by Leo's cage, refusing to eat or bark. Scout cuddled Leo every night as if fearing they might never see each other again. Departure day, fog covered the valley. Michael carefully fastened a GPS collar on Leo's neck, a small, compact device that sent signals every 30 minutes. He noted the route, a wildlife sanctuary over 100 kilometers northwest, where lion migration traces were once recorded. Dense forests, rugged mountains, glaciers, and wolf territories, a harsh environment, but if Leo could adapt, he could live as a true lion. Leo did not resist being put into the straw-lined wooden crate. But his yellow eyes looked out the gap, not panicked or fearful, but holding something, almost like understanding. Bruno growled as the crate was lifted into the pickup truck. Hazel jumped on after, trying to chase. Scout howled a long, bone-piercing sound. The family stood in the late winter cold, as if their hearts were being pulled with every turning wheel. The road to the sanctuary was rough, winding through mossy valleys and dark pine hills. Leo was silent all trip, shaking his head once as the mountain wind howled through the truck cracks. Upon arrival, they opened the crate. Leo stepped out, looked back, eyes locking with Luna, Michael, and Rebecca, a breathless, silent moment. Then, like a breeze, Leo vanished into the forest. And so, they returned, each carrying an unnamed hole in their hearts. At first, everything seemed fine. Michael tracked the GPS signals on his computer. The green dots showed Leo moving, not in a straight line, but in arcs, as if exploring, marking territory. He slept under big trees, bathed in dry streams, approached the edge of a black bear's territory, but avoided conflicts. Early behavioral data reassured Michael. Leo avoided danger points, did not intrude into wolf areas. But he noticed something strange. Every afternoon, at dusk, Leo returned to a large rock. There he sat for hours, neither hunting nor sleeping, just gazing toward the southeast, the direction of his old home. Rebecca worried about the 3 dogs. Hazel stopped eating for days. Bruno became overly alert, growling at the wind. Scout dragged Leo's blanket out to the yard every night, laying on it and softly whining. Luna laid a large map in her room. She marked every point Leo passed. "Dad, Leo is finding his way home." "I'm sure." Michael sighed. His heart wanted to believe, but his mind knew well, lions do not behave this way. They have no concept of family, like humans. They live, claim territory, reproduce, and fight. On the 12th day, the GPS signal was lost. The green dot vanished near Rocky Mountains on the sanctuary's eastern border. Michael tried contacting the ranger station. Nothing unusual reported. But unease quietly crept into every corner of the house. On the 13th day, Michael and Luna drove to the last point, a cliff overlooking the valley. Under the trees, they found the torn GPS collar, but no blood, no signs of attack. Just some big paw prints, crossing streams, wandering forests, moving back toward the old place. The family followed the news closely. Rebecca set up camera traps around the farm. Nothing appeared. On the 17th day, at a quiet dawn, a howl echoed through the mist. Scout barked loudly, Bruno rushed out, Hazel ran after. Michael opened the door, and froze. On the snow-speckled ground stood a familiar figure, thinner, mane messy, front legs muddy, but eyes shining like a sunrise. Leo. He stood, trembling with fatigue, but his eyes never left the 3 people on the porch. Scout was the first to run to him, jumping up and snuggling into his belly. Hazel howled. Bruno raised his head and growled loudly, not threatening, but a welcoming song. Luna burst into tears. Rebecca covered her mouth, unbelieving. Michael, heart tight, stepped slowly forward. Leo stretched and rubbed his head against Michael's hand, a gesture needing no words. Leo, the lion cub saved in winter, had crossed forests, mountains, rivers, and even instincts, just to return to his pack. Ranger Martinez came the next morning. Sitting on the grass, watching Leo obediently resting his head on Scout's paw, he said, "Lions don't do this. They don't travel hundreds of kilometers to find a place. And especially don't come back, to dogs." The director of the wildlife department personally arrived. She observed Leo for days, recording behaviors and consulting experts. Finally, an unprecedented decision was made. Leo was allowed to stay, on the condition that the farm become a research and community education site. Michael built a large semi-wild enclosure with paths connecting the dog kennels and Leo's favorite rock, where he could lie and gaze at the scenery. A year passed. Leo was now a strong, proud adult lion, but still ran with the pack every morning, guarded alongside Bruno every evening, and rested his head on Hazel's back every night. Michael published a zoological research paper, Interspecies Social Bonding, the Case of Leo. Schools, biological institutes, and the press flocked in. Luna, now 14, declared she would become a zoologist. And Scout, the smallest dog, still played with Leo every morning as on day one. No one on the farm called Leo a wild lion anymore. To them, Leo didn't belong to the forest, he belonged to their hearts. Affection, like an underground river, can cross all borders. Instinct may guide the way, but love redraws the map.